One of the very important influential Bibles in America is the Bible that we're looking at here. The story that's important to know before we talk about the Bible is that when the Puritans, when the Pilgrims, and early settlers came to what we know as America today, we're not allowed to print Bibles in the English language. The Crown literally held the textual rights to the English Bible. However, we could print Bibles in other languages, and we had already talked about the Eliot Indian Bible, the first Bible printed in America. But the second, the third, and the fourth Bibles printed in America were produced by this man here. His name is Christopher Sauer. And again, like the continuation of this American story, Christopher Sauer was a German immigrant who was seeking refuge from religious persecution. He came to America with typeset from the Luther Foundry. And he would produce the very first European Bible and actually the second Bible ever printed in America. That was in 1743. And Christopher Sauer, when he advertised the Bible, he said, "For the poor, there is no cost." So Sauer was a contemporary to Benjamin Franklin. They actually competed against each other. Christopher Sauer was in Germantown, Pennsylvania. Benjamin Franklin, right next door, was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And the story goes that Sauer was critical of Benjamin Franklin's German translations because Sauer was a German himself. And so there's kind of I don't want to call it a war, but there was opposition against the two. The story is reported that because of that, when Sauer was buying paper, he was told that he had to buy the paper or pay for the paper completely. So when he was ready to produce his second Bible in 1763, he went to get the paper, and the papermaker said, "You pay in full or you don't get any at all." And so Christopher Sauer produces or has a paper mill and prints the very first Bible printed with American-made paper in 1763. And then in 1776, his typeset is wearing out. His son has taken over the business, Christopher Sauer Jr., and they produced new typeset. And they would produce this European Bible, this German Bible or Luther Bible, 1743, 1763. And then in 1776, a very important date in American history, they would print the first Bible printed in America with American-made typeset. But the story is really interesting. According to Isaiah Thomas, who was also a historical printer, the British, during the Germantown battle, commandeered Christopher Sauer's printing press, used the Bible pages for gun wadding for their muskets. And so this Bible is also known as the Gun Wad Bible. There's a similar story in the Civil War where they go into a church and they use hymnals. And the saying was, "Give them Watts, boys, give them Watts." But Sauer was a conscientious objector to the war because of his faith, not because he sided with with England or America. As a result, they considered him to be potentially a spy. And so he was prosecuted, but found innocent, but his land was taken over by the government. He would never print a Bible again. His works actually would go all the way up to here in Baltimore, not too far away from where we are in D.C. here. And I think it was his nephew who would continue printing, but he didn't print Bibles. He printed hymnals, he printed newspapers, printed almanacs and things like that. But the story of Christopher Sauer is really, really interesting.